Hey guys, what's up? This is NDN here. I'm finally back with the Elemental Shaman guide. This is going to be the first part. It's going to be talents and glyphs only for now. I'm going to come out with the rest later. And for everyone that's going crazy with how bad Elemental Shamans are right now, I want to tell you, they aren't as bad anymore, especially after the hotfixes. There have been some huge buffs to Elemental Shamans. People are still crying about them, but Elemental Shamans are still really good. The only bad part, the negative part is that most people don't even give Elemental Shamans a chance anymore. That's the only downside to Elemental Shamans right now. And I've kind of been through that, especially being Horde now, on my Ellie Shaman at least, is that, I mean, first of all, there's like almost no one left on the Horde side. On top of that being an Elemental Shaman, so I know the pain where some people are feeling about no one's playing with Elemental Shamans right now. But Ellie Shamans are still in a really decent place right now. So I definitely if you like Elemental Shamans, keep playing that. It's really good. So starting up, I'm gonna go with talents first. Level 15 talents. You have Nature's Guardian, Storm Bulwark, and Astral Shift. Now, for level 15, by far the only talent that I even I like at all is Nature's Guardian. Basically, it's a passive ability. Whenever you drop under 30% health, you get 25% of it back, or your health increases for 25%, and then afterwards a percentage stays. So it's really nice. It's not like your health just drops afterwards. It's not like Rallying Cry. And then you have Stone Bulwark Totem, which is it's a nice ability. I mean, and in terms of like duels or something like that, or just a 1v1 situation, or maybe even twos where you know it's not going to be purged off, it might actually be more overall. It'll be more helpful to you. But in terms of 3v3 situation or just in a general situation, Nature's Guardian is by far the way to go. Astral Shift is, I mean, it's still not like, you can still use it, especially considering that it's Shamanistic Rage and it does stack now. But, I mean, that's being said, like, you can still use it as a shield wall, so it's not bad, but my preference goes towards Nature's Guardian for level 15 talents. For level 30 talents, by far out of the three, my favorite for Elemental Shamans is Earth Grab Totem. It roots everyone around you when you put down your Earth Grab Totem. So Earth Grab Totem is by far my favorite, and then the other option, the other two options are viable. Windwalk Totem is really nice against, let's say you're facing a Boomkin or something. It's going to be really nice on a Solar Beam. Or you're just facing a team where like roots isn't not such a big issue. Like maybe you have a Rusher Druid or a Mage who likes to root a lot, and your healer just wants a freedom, or you guys just actually need a freedom, or you have a melee on your team. Windwalk Totem might actually be really nice for you. So it's depending on situation. And then Frozen Power can be used in some clutch ways. But for level 30 talents, I do like Earth Grab Totem the best. For level 45, there's an option between two talents here. It's Call of Elements and Totemic Projection. Persistence, it's a cool thing. It's just not worth it right now. There's not much you can do with it. So Totemic Projection basically allows you to throw your whatever totem you have. So for example, I put down a Cap Totem, and then I can transfer it somewhere else, and then stun the opponent, or whoever I want to stun. So, I mean, it works the same way with putting down Earth Grab Totems or Searing Totems, and then either hiding them or transferring them, and it'll reroute them or something like that. So it's really nice. Or like sending out or it's also used in a really good way where sometimes you're out of position and everything, and this happens a lot for Enhanced Shamans, but for Elemental Shamans it can happen also. Where you put down a Tremor Totem and your healer's too far from it because he's running away, you can transfer it to your healer and it'll activate. So even in that sense, it's a really nice ability. Call of the Elements, this is mainly going to be used for when you're facing Warlocks now. Because if you're facing a Priest, their cooldown on Fear is 45 seconds. So all you really have to worry about is a 15-second window for them to get another Fear off. So hopefully you can try to prevent it. So unless you're facing Warlocks, I would recommend Totemic Projection. But if you are facing a Warlock and you feel like your team is actually going to need that double Tremor Totem, this is a really nice talent. And on top of that, you do get double healing streams, groundings, Cap Totems, Earth Grabs, or Windwalk Totems, whatever you're using. So these two are nice talents, but my favorite is Totemic Projection. Then for level 60 talents, all three of these are viable. And Elemental Mastery will be the most burst damage out of all of them. It will be, especially if you combine this with your Ascendance, it will do some amazing damage. Like, no doubt about it. Even if you're not in Ascendance, it will help you out a lot. And Social Swiftness, obviously you cannot instant Hex anymore, which is, I guess this makes it a huge downside to this talent now. But I mean, even then, like the passive bonus on haste is still really nice, but it's not to where it used to be. And my personal favorite right now is Echo the Elements. I love this talent. Basically, your spells and abilities have a chance to cause your next lava burst, frost shock, or earthquake not to incur its cooldown. This is amazing. So it's basically like you can use like lava bursts over and over. It's like being in Ascendance all the time, and it procs a lot. So it's like having Ascendance all the time. It's really nice. Or for example, like you have it up and you want to frost shock and flame shock someone, you can frost shock someone and then flame shock someone. And so I mean it's nice in many different ways. So my favorite talent for level 60 is Echo the Elements by far. Like these two don't even compete for me. For 2s, Elemental Mastery sometimes does compete, but that's pretty much it. For level 75 talents, Rushing Streams is by far the best talent ever because Ancestral Guidance, it goes by how much damage and healing you do, so it can be really nice, but this was mainly, for me, it was more geared towards Enhanced Shamans where you have the huge Ascendance, the like on burst demand, like going crazy. It's really nice, but I mean, it could work for Elemental Shamans also, but Rushing Streams is just scales so nicely with Elemental Shamans being able to heal 2 people at once. So I really prefer Rushing Streams at level 75. Sadly, conductivity is not that great in terms of arenas at the moment. One day, hopefully, maybe, I don't know, it might become good again. It was good for that one tiny portion, like, ever. So, I mean, right now you have these two options, and Rushing Streams is one that comes out on top for me. Level 90 talents. You have Elemental Blast, Primal Ellie, and Unleashed Fury. Now, for 2s, Primal Ellie can be used where you know you're never ever, your job might be to be a Wrestler Shaman. Like, there are cons sometimes you play where as an Elemental Shaman, like, all you get to do in 2s if you're not playing with a healer is literally spam Healing Surge sometimes. So you can put down a Primal Ellie and then just put up Flame Shocks and just do instant lava bursts, whenever you get the procs. And aside from that, you just spam Healing Surges. So Primal Ellie during those times might actually be really good, especially combined with Storm Elemental Totem. But in terms of 3v3 situation, you have Elemental Blast and Unleashed Fury. Most people, or a lot of people, the easier talent to go with is Unleashed Fury. It passively procs on your your Unleashed Flame, which basically will increase your Lightning Bolt damage done by 30% for 10 seconds and your Lava Burst damage for 10% for 10 seconds. This is really nice. So your Ascendance will definitely be much stronger with Unleashed Fury on a normal basis. And your Lightning Bolts are still going to hit, I mean, they're going to truck someone down because Lightning Bolt is really, it's a hard hitting ability even now. But my personal favorite still is Elemental Blast. Like, it may not do as much damage as it used to, but the buff is just so nice, and having that extra ability where like you get kicked on Lava Burst, you get kicked on Lightning Bolt, you have another spell to cast. Which right now, considering that there are it feels like there are a lot of kicks in the game, and it's really nice for juking. Like, I mean, most of the times you can juke, but if you have a hard time juking, you have 3 spells to cast from. The only downside is you do not want to get kicked on Elemental Blast. That will ruin your day. It's the worst feeling ever getting kicked on Elemental Blast because you're just sitting duck right there. So you have to be careful about that. But I have tested out both of them, and in terms of that on-demand burst at that random moment, it feels like Unleashed Fury sometimes can, like, it does feel a little bit stronger in some senses, but overall I do like Elemental Blast better because even with Elemental Blast, it's like, it's not that one-shot shatter that we had basically for Elemental Shamans with Elemental Blast and Lava Burst and Fulmination anymore. You can still do it, but it's not as strong. But even then, it's like the buff that you get from it is just really nice if it's not purged, and aside from that, it does do decent damage in addition. So for level 90 talents, you have Unleashed Fury and Elemental Blast, my personal favorite being Elemental Blast. So it's also something refreshing. And then for level 100 talents, all 3 of these are viable. I've played with all of them, and you can match damage with all of them. Storm Elemental Totem, the only one that's only viable in short matches in my opinion. Other than that, or 2s. Especially in 2s, it's actually a really nice thing to have. The only downside of Storm Elemental Totem is that you can't, if you're going to put down a Grounding Totem or a Cap Totem, it's going to take it away, or a Windwalk Totem. So you have to be careful about how you use it. And then you have Liquid Magma. This talent, it actually does a really nice amount of damage as fire. As elemental, but it's just also it's spread damage again. So if you're playing like LSD or something like that, or just Warlock Ellie or just Boomkin Ellie or something, and you're going for a spread pressure, Liquid Magma might not be a bad choice for you. But in terms of single target damage, I personally prefer Elemental Fusion right now, where your lava burst, basically every time you lava burst, your next shock spell is increased by 40% and stacks up to twice. So you can have it up to, it increases by 2 times. The only downside is, I did test this out. It does not, sorry, I got distracted by the whisper. Anyways, it does not work with fulmination. That is the only downside. I tested it out. But regardless, your Earth Shock will still be really powerful, even though it's not affected towards fulmination. So that's still a plus side. So every time you lava burst twice, you can either do a really nice flame shock, or you can do a really strong Earth Shock. So now, I guess this is more towards the rotation guide, but I guess I'll just point this out right now. I do not have to wait for over 10-15 stacks of fulmination anymore, especially now that your fulmination, the lightning shield stacks do not stack when someone's hitting you. So every time I get 2 lava bursts off and I get the 2 procs, I just go ahead and use the Earth Shock, and it'll be more overall damage. Obviously, you can save it for when you're trying to use it as an execute. That's a viable strategy, but I'll talk more about that in the rotation guide. But for level 100 talents, I do like Elemental Fusion the most, followed by Liquid Magma, and then Storm Elemental for 2s. Or where you just know you're never going to get, I mean, regardless, all these talents can be used while you're being CC'd or you're healing and stuff, so they're all viable. So, but level 100 talent, Elemental Fusion is the way to go for me. And then I have for Glyphs, the 3 Glyphs I'm using, or I mean, these Glyphs are really interchangeable at the moment. Which one glyph that I'm using right now, which I like a lot, is Capacitor Totem, which basically reduces the casting of your Cap Totem by 2 seconds. Now, I mean, it may not seem like too much, but considering the fact that everyone watches for Cap Totem and they want to kill it, it's going to be really nice, considering the fact that they have 2 less seconds to react onto it, and you can actually set it up much faster. So Cap Totem is a really nice glyph, and then you have Glyph of Lightning Shield, which basically every time you get hit, or every time it's triggered, you take 10% less damage for 6 seconds. So basically, I mean, you're taking 10% less damage the entire game, except for the first time they hit you, which, I mean, is completely fine, which Lightning Shield is really nice. And then you have the Glyph of Hex, which reduces the cooldown on Hex by 10 seconds. Again, another really nice glyph if you're not playing with like a mage or hunter. Even if you are, it's still a really nice glyph, because if you're playing with someone who doesn't have a Hexa spell, or you're playing with like a red paladin who can dispel like Ice Trap, or who can dispel polys with their sacks, it's really nice to Hex first and get that opening pressure out, or just in general getting a CC out. So Glyph of Hex is still really nice. And then other glyphs that you have that you could use in 3s, I mean, in terms of, are going to be Ghost Wolf. Basically, whenever you are in Ghost Wolf form, all slows on you are reduced, so you basically almost go at 100% speed while you're in Ghost Wolf. This talent is amazing, especially if you're facing a melee or like a melee hunter and you just want to kite around. It's an amazing talent. So by far, Ghost Wolf is a viable glyph. And then you have Glyph of Grounding Totem, which basically reflects any spell but increases the cooldown on Grounding Totem by 20 seconds. This is used in some random situations where you want to get those extra CCs out on maybe a Resto Druid, or like you're trying to read like direct Hodges to like Holy Pallies or something like that. And I mean, also this also actually, if you reflect trap from a hunter, it'll actually trap the hunter now, which is kind of cool and neat. So it's kind of fun to use. And then another glyph that's really important to use is Glyph of Healing Stream Totem. Whenever you're facing a Boomkin or a Mage or another Elemental Shaman, it's going to be really important that you use this, because all damage they do is going to be reduced by 10% for 6 seconds after putting down a Healing Stream Totem. So it's really nice. And then you have, let's see, and then you have Glyph of Purge, also another really important glyph. Basically what it does is it increases the, like basically instead of Purge dispelling one thing, it will dispel 2 things but add a 6-second cooldown to it, which I actually like to use this a lot, because as Elemental Shaman, it actually hurts you a lot when you purge. Unlike an Enhanced Shaman, where purging, it doesn't hurt you as much because you have auto attack damage going anyways. So having a 6-second cooldown, so every 6 seconds I just put that in my rotation, where I just purge every 6 seconds if I see a buff that I want to take off, and there's a pretty high chance that it might come off. So Glyph of Purge is definitely a really nice talent. And then you do have Shamanistic Rage, which, I mean, basically activating your Shamanistic Rage cleanses you of all harmful effects. This is a nice glyph, but seeing that there aren't too many things you can get rid of. I mean, if you're playing twos or something against a paladin or a mage, you can't get rid of deep freezes or hodges. Even against warlocks, you can take away their dots, or shadow priests, you can take away dots, boomkins also. So I mean, there are situations where you can use it in, but be careful. If you dispel UA or VT, it will still give you that debuff. They're not as strong anymore, so it doesn't hurt you as much, but it will still hurt you. So it's fair warning. And you have Glyph of Spiritwalker's Grace. Another kind of cool ability, or basically increases the duration of Spiritwalker's Grace by 5 seconds. If there's nothing that, like for example, like if there's nothing you can use out of any of these, it is a nice boost to kind of have up, especially while your Ascendance is up or something, because during Ascendance you do have Aura Mastery because of your 4-step bonus. Or I'm sorry, your 2-step bonus. So whenever you have Ascendance up, you're immune to silence interrupt effects. Also, while I'm on this point, I want to say the 4-step bonus is kind of cool. Interrupting a spell once you're now activates Lava Surge. So every time you interrupt someone, you get a free Lava Burst. That's kind of cool. So I really like, that's a really cool mechanic they added to Elemental Shamans. So you actually even know if you kick someone or not, if you're not using any kind of add-ons or anything like that. And then you have Glyph of Thunder, which reduces the cooldown thunderstorm by 10 seconds, which can be really nice considering if you're on a y-axis and you're facing a melee, or just in general, anyone. If you're on a Dawn Arenas or the one, I don't know, the one big bridge in the middle, I forget its name, going blank right now. But either way, y-axis maps, Glyph of Thunder, really nice glyph. And then you have some other glyphs, and then for example, Shamanistic Resolve. I personally don't like this glyph, because I feel like the Shamanistic Rage every 1 minute is really nice, but you can use this glyph. It reduces damage taken by an additional 30%, so your Shamanistic Rage will reduce damage taken by 60%, which is like a huge shield wall. But the only thing is it will make it a 2-minute cooldown. So if you're having a hard time living just every once in a while, then it is a viable option to go to. And then aside from that, you have Glyph of Spiritwalker's Aegis, which this glyph is actually kind of cool, because basically whenever you use Spiritwalker's Grace, you get Aura Mastery for 5 seconds. So you can have Ascendance as Aura Mastery, and you can have this too, but usually what tends to happen is I use Spiritwalker's Grace and Ascendance together anyways. So if I were to use this, it's just kind of like, it's not going to stack up. So that's why I don't use this glyph as much. But if you can just stand there and spam Lava Burst, or you're just using Ascendance to heal yourself for some reason, or you're just trying to heal yourself with Spiritwalker's Grace, it is a really nice ability, another really nice ability to add to it. And then you have Spiritwalker's Focus, which reduces the cooldown of your Spiritwalker's Grace by 60 seconds, and it reduces the duration by 7 seconds. So these are all like preferential stuff, but I do like these 3 core glyphs and some of the other ones that I discussed, like Purge and stuff. But in terms of glyphs, that's pretty much it for arenas. So, and then I think a lot of people have asked me about Glyph of Flame Shock, where basically all the damage it deals heals you for 45% of the damage it deals. I wanted to, I guess, address the fact that while it's nice, it's not enough, like, to replace some of the glyphs that you can get. But I have used it in some situations, like especially against Dog Cleaves, where I can't use literally any of the other glyphs, like they just don't make sense. I have tried Flame Shock, and it is helpful, but it's not something major. And in terms of minor glyphs, there's literally only one minor glyph that really even matters right now, which is Totemic Encirclement. Whenever you cast any totem, basically, so let's say if I was to cast Healing Stream Totem, I get 4 of their totems that are laid down. And now most people don't have totem targeting macros, and there are a few people that might click on the totem, but a lot of people just tap target totems. So what happens is this creates like 3 other basics. So it reduces their chance of targeting your totem by 75%, which is really nice. So it's just a gimmicky thing that might help you out. It just or I guess like hinder your opponent. And the other one, is basically Lake Strider, which this is really nice for, I guess, RPGs or even actually arenas, honestly. Basically, whenever you Ghost Wolf, you get Water Walking. So if they're trying to purge your Ghost Wolf off, because Ghost Wolf, when you're in Ghost Wolf form, it is purgeable. So if they're trying to purge that off, they have another buff that they have to get through. Or even generally, you're trying to run away and you have like some buffs on it, you can Ghost Wolf and run away, and they might get Water Walking first. So it is a cool glyph to have, I guess, compared to the other ones. And then Glyph of Ghostly Speed. this is just a fun glyph. So whenever I'm in Ghost Wolf form, even my speed is like, I'm super fast. Like I'm going at 190% speed. So we're just 10% less than a mount. So I mean, considering that you're in Ghost Wolf form, that's really cool. They did change that now where it doesn't work indoors anymore to that extent. But regardless, it's still a fun glyph to have. But the rest of the glyphs are just cosmetic and fun glyphs. But that's pretty much it for talents and glyphs. Hopefully that helps you out, and I will be coming out with a rotation guide and my macros, add-ons, all that stuff later on. And also, I would like to thank my friend for finally giving me an actual decent mic, or a really good mic actually, because hopefully there is no static anymore and my voice probably sounds a lot different. But hopefully this helps you guys. Enjoy. Good luck playing Elemental Shamans.